Once upon a time, there was an expansion that captured the hearts of millions. Rather than being just a new expansion in the game's history, it became a journey that perfectly combined adventure, camaraderie, and challenge. That expansion was Wrath of the Lich King, the last expansion that still felt like classic World of Warcraft and the peak of the game itself. For many, Wrath of the Lich King began not with grandiose battles, but with the call to venture into the unknown lands of Northrend. From the howling fjords' Viking-inspired cliffs to the frozen Borean tundra, every zone offered a sense of wonder and immersion that harkened back to classic World of Warcraft. The quests felt like a story waiting to unfold, a thread in a tapestry that would ultimately lead us to face the greatest villain the Warcraft universe had ever known, Arthas Menethil, the Lich King.
The very forests of Dalaran whispered the name Arthas.
But Wrath offered more than just landscapes and storylines. It was an expansion that brought players together. From the massive player versus player battles in Wintergrasp to the unforgettable dungeon runs through Utgard Keep and Halls of Reflection, Wrath of the Lich King made sure that you were never truly alone in your journey. We shouldn't forget how good the raids were. Nax, Ulduar, and of course Icecrown Citadel. Each one an epic proving ground where guilds tested their mettle and where lifelong friendships were forged. Perhaps the greatest strength of Wrath of the Lich King was its balance. The game was accessible yet challenging, epic yet grounded. It still felt like Warcraft, where the world and the community was the focus, and you were just one adventurer among many. Even the introduction of the Death Knight class, for me a bold move, felt right. We should not forget that this was the first new class that made it into the game. It wasn't just a new way to play, it was a story of redemption, struggle, and the haunting legacy of Arthas himself. Professions mattered. Reputation grinds were meaningful. Even dailies, like those at the Argent tournament, had a charm that kept players coming back. Arthas in particular made the expansion special. From the moment we set foot in Northrend, his presence loomed over us. He wasn't just a villain, he was the culmination of years of storytelling. He was a tragic prince turned into a ruthless king, and although he was our enemy, we all loved him. I can still remember the first time I stood in front of him in the Citadel with my guild. It was the moment Wrath of the Lich King had been building toward for years. Hearing Tyreenus whisper,
"No king rules forever, my son,"
still gives me goosebumps today. It felt like the end of an era, not just for Arthas, but for World of Warcraft itself. What made Wrath feel like classic WoW wasn't just the world, the story, or the mechanics. It was the spirit of the game. It was a time when the community thrived, when the journey mattered more than the destination, and when every corner of Azeroth felt alive with adventure. In Wrath, you weren't racing to the finish line. You were savoring the journey, building memories, and creating stories that would stay with you long after the expansion ended. Even almost 20 years after the release, we watch videos like this and remember a wonderful time. Today we look back at Wrath as more than just an expansion. It was the last time World of Warcraft truly felt like the game we all fell in love with. It was the bridge between the old and the new, a masterpiece that balanced nostalgia with innovation, simplicity with depth. With Wrath Classic, we had the chance to relive those adventures, to rekindle that magic, and to remember why we fell in love with Azeroth in the first place. Because no king rules forever, but some memories last a lifetime. And that brings us to the end of this journey. If this video brought back memories for you, just like it did for me, feel free to leave a like and subscribe so you won't miss more nostalgic content. I want to thank you for watching, for sharing your own stories in the comments, and simply for being part of this community. Because in the end, it's these shared moments that made WoW so special, and they're the reason those memories still live on today. Take care, stay adventurous, and I'll see you in the next one.